I'm Chevy, and today let's discuss my workshop. Hello friends, welcome to the shed. It is Workshop Wednesday, and today I actually want to talk about this space. I've had some questions in the past specifically about why my space is set up the way it is, or how is my space set up, or what kind of decisions do I have to make because of the size of my shop. My shed, shop, whatever, is about, I want to say it's about 12 feet wide and approximately 25 feet long. So it's essentially a one-car garage with a nose, with a, extra 8 feet or so in front of it. And when I initially had this space set up, we were using the garage for the cars. And so my workbench was along this wall, my toolbox was there, my motorcycle would sit kind of where I'm sitting right now. And as I've grown more into the space, the less room I have for vehicles. So my motorcycle is down there, and all of my automotive tools are down by the garage door. So when I thought about this particular space, why did I want my workbench, whatever? This workbench I built myself. It was not based on any plans. I got this wood, which is just pine, I believe, like maybe Douglas fir, from my boss. And he said, I said, I need a workbench. I don't have any money for wood. He said, I have a pile of wood from my porch. It's been in my backyard for a couple years. Come get it. So I went out there, and sure enough, this was like, it was the old eaves or under, like the porch roof, whatever the 2x6s that hold the porch roof up. And they had paint all over them, but most of it had like swollen and fallen off because these boards were left uncovered for years on the ground. So I picked them up. I picked out the ones that I liked the most. I scraped off the loose paint and built a base out of them, and then put some 4x4 legs in. So there was no plans involved. It was literally just, I built it one day because I needed a workbench, and it's intended to be mobile. It's heavy. It's really heavy. The bottom shelf and everything is made out of the same 2x6 material. This is some old dense stuff. But the intention was that I could pull this out and put it in the middle of the shop if I wanted to. And so it was built with that in mind. That's why I don't have like a major overhang here to clamp to or to install a vise on or anything, because it's designed to be mobile, and I wanted to be able to work around all sides of the bench. Now there is no overhang on the back of the bench, and this overhang here is about 5 inches. There's only about a 2-inch overhang on that end. So it was made with utility in mind, so that I could clamp around the table, not necessarily as a stationary workbench. That being said, since I've built this table, I've never moved that thing. So if in the future, I'm going to take out this lower shelf and probably put some better storage system down there. Right now, I don't think you can see on camera, that shelf is just full of junk, and it needs to get cleaned up, and I might put some cabinets. There's some wasted space under there that's just concrete. But that was the intention behind that workbench. This cabinet right here came from my parents' old kitchen, and it was something they had thrown away, or were going to throw away. And this cabinet back here, this came from their brand new kitchen, and it came with a defect, and the company shipped them another one and told them to just toss that one. So I got this brand new cabinet. It has like the easy close technology and all that stuff for free. The reason it's set up on this wall in particular, so my garage runs this way, and that wall, the wall behind the camera, and this wall are both outside walls, and I have a superior walls basement, which means there's no structural studs behind this drywall. There is a standoff that is concrete with a thin strip of metal over it that is designed just to hold the weight of drywall. So I had a cabinet hanging up back there for a while, but it was really, I wasn't comfortable with it because the workbench used to sit over there. So when I started to kind of take over the rest of the space, I turned the workbench on this side, and that way I could hang everything here. These are actual wall studs back here. The other things I've tried to do is keep everything as mobile as possible. This table is on casters. You've probably seen me move it around before. This replaced the need for the mobile workbench. I got this butcher block style tabletop from a friend. He gave it to me. It's like oak, solid oak, probably 1.5 inches thick, maybe 1 3/4 inches thick, and it's heavy as all can be. And I had a little bit of that wood left over, plus the development is, I was the first person to move into this development, so they're still building, and so when they get rid of their building scraps, they just kind of pile up down there, and I go sort through them. So the rest of this table was built out of building scraps. And then the casters I got later on, I had some smaller casters on here for a while. So this table has replaced the need for this. I built this table with the casters in mind after watching Woodworking for Mere Mortals. Steve Ramsey, he has a lot of tables that he drags out in his garage or out in his driveway so that he can paint and stuff out there, and that was like, I have to have that. I have to have one of those. So I had this countertop laying around. I was trying to figure out what to do with it. I thought about cutting it up and making something out of the material, and I thought, no, this is perfect. I need a castered table. And like I said, it's replaced the need for that thing. It's about 4 by 4 feet, so it's perfect for me. I never work, you know, a lot of guys work on 8 foot by 4 foot tables. They'll take a sheet of MDF and that's their tabletop. That's not me. I don't have a need for a surface that big. I'm never working on full-size projects, and if I am, I have floor space. Or I can set up some sawhorses and throw down a sheet of plywood. So this is perfect for me because it's mobile. I can roll it outside with something heavy on it, paint. My planer currently sits on here, and if you've ever had a surface planer, you'll know how heavy they are. It sits under here just fine. I use it right where it sits. I don't ever have to lift it up and put it up here, and just wheel this thing around. If I need to run a long board through the planer, I can move this in the middle of the floor, and that way I have plenty of space on the infeed and outfeed. The rest of the stuff in here, you can't see just off camera. Here is I'll try and, here, we'll do it this way. Just off camera. But I have a phone. There's nothing's off camera when you have a phone. Over here you can see this little cabinet, I think was some sort of, I don't know what it was, honestly. These cutouts were in it when I got it. It was given to me by the same friend that gave me the top for my rolling table, and I assembled it the best I could, put a couple shelves in there, and that is my sanding station. So all my sanding supplies are in those bins. My belt sander, combination belt disc sander sits there, and then all of my hand tools and stuff are down here. So this is basically sanding. And then over here, this was something that we had in our bathroom for a long time. Somebody had taken this dresser and they had built rails along the top of it to make it a changing table. So I took all that stuff off and bolted my miter saw down, that's my miter saw, to this little space. And most of, if you come to my space, you'll see most of my stuff is open shelving like this, and so it ends up just being a cluttered mess. Here, I'll even show you under the workbench. It's just stuff. And I don't like that. I don't like stuff. I would rather not have that problem. But I do. So everything is intended to be mobile, save those sanding stations. This saw is heavy, but I can walk it on its feet. I do want to build some sort of rolling locking system for it. My jointer, it's not going anywhere. It's too heavy to move, and I built this really super solid base for it. But my table saw is super lightweight. Just pick it up and move it around because it's garbage. So, oh, and my drill press. You've probably seen that before. My drill press is ancient and sits on this cabinet that is also on these little teeny tiny casters. So I can move this around wherever I need it to be as well. And there's a couple of drawers in here for storage. And on the other side, it's open shelves, like so much of my shop that has scraps for putting underneath of stuff that I'm pressing on. So my main deciding factor when I have built this space out is I don't want anything that has to be like stuck in a spot. because I knew that I would be adding more tools to the shop. Right now, the only thing I would add is a table saw, and I don't think I would ever buy like a cabinet saw. I just don't see me needing a huge table saw ever. And I'm probably wrong, but for now, I would like to have a quality contractor style or hybrid style table saw, especially one of the ones that has like the steel tubing for a base with big wheels on it that I can move around. That interests me way more than having a massive cast iron countertop saw, because it fits my workspace. The way that I work is, if I need to work on something and the space isn't working, I'll rearrange the space to make it work, instead of rearranging my project to fit the space. That's just me. And oftentimes when that happens, the space stays however it was that I left it, and I just clean up all the extra stuff, but the furniture stays where it is. This configuration of this U shape with the table in the middle has suited me very well for the last year and a half or so, and it's working perfectly for the show because the camera is sitting kind of out of my way of the workspace. So I don't have to mess with all of my lighting setup and stuff just to make something. I can come down here and make in the same space that I'm recording this show in. So that's my decisions when I set this place up. That's my decisions going forward when I buy a new tool. How does it fit into the space, and how will I be able to move it around the space? If you're working in a small shop like I am, you really have to consider the footprint of every single tool, and can you combine them? Like, for instance, this table was a necessity, so was a place for my planer, so they're the same thing. My planer now takes up no extra floor space. I don't have a special dedicated stand for it. It just sits under here, and I use it when I need it. Yeah. There you go. So that's my workspace. Might do a more detailed tour of things again in the future if that's something that you want to see. If we do the Patreon thing, maybe I'll do a vlog on it. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't decided to turn that on yet. So thanks for stopping by. It's Wednesday. I'm going to go play games. I hope that you have something fun to do tonight as well, because I am going to be having a blast. Thank you for stopping by today. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Thanks for keeping the discussion sane on yesterday's Hillary video. If you haven't seen it, don't forget to go watch it. Please leave some comments here about my shop, about the tools in my shop, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from NBCnews.com. Who was the oldest man on Earth? Guinness World Records says the oldest living person verified by original proof of birth is Misao Okawa, a 115-year-old Japanese woman. The oldest verified age was 122 years and 164 days. Jean Calment of France, who died in 1997. But I also just heard something about a lady who was born in 1889 who just got her birth certificate and then died like a day later. So she would have been old. I'm recording a show, honey.
I asked if you were recording.
I don't check my phone while I'm talking to people on the internet.
How am I supposed to know? You don't respond.